Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I am your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify. However you're listening to my voice, I appreciate it. And I also appreciate pro wrestling, time with my family, time with my girlfriend, and I got all of that over the holiday season, over Christmas. I even went to see The Iron Claw. The great movie. I would say it's better than The Wrestler. It pulls on all the heartstrings The Wrestler does, but the fact that it is a true story for the most part. I think it's the. I might have some recency bias, but I think it might be the best wrestling movie of all time. It beats Ready to Rumble. It beats The Wrestler, and if you beat those two movies, I'm going to just put you in the best wrestling movie of all time. If you think there's a better wrestling movie out there, let me know in the comments. I'll watch it. Even if it's in the running, I'll watch it. Kind of, it is a downer. Don't get me wrong. And I do think that they did a little miscasting here. I think Zac Efron should have been Carrie, and the guy from The Bear should have been Kevin. But that's splitting hairs at the very least. I did have to skip some wrestling, guys. I didn't watch Rampage, and then Raw was a best of. NXT from this week was a best of, but I haven't talked to you guys in so long. I'm going to talk to you guys about NXT from last week. I'm going to talk to you guys about AEW from last week, recording this on a Wednesday morning. But I'm also going to be talking about some WWE recent releases and where they're popping up. Mustafa Ali is going to wrestle for GCW against fellow Chicago native Gringo Loco January 12th. This will be a great atmosphere. This is the perfect match to come back for if you're going to the Indies and your Mustafa Ali, I think. He's also going to appear for AML very soon, along with AJ Francis. That's down here in North Carolina, Winston-Salem to be exact, home of WrestleCade. So, to me, if you're a WWE released talent and you're wrestling for AML, that kind of tells me that you're trying to get into WrestleCade, which is, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Matt Riddle is returning to MLW, maybe getting the contract that Hammerstone left behind versus Jacob Fatu, January 6th in Philly. This is cool for Matt Riddle, coming back to maybe his roots a little bit, so to speak. But, obviously, for me, I assumed that he was going to get in that celebrity boxing world. That seems to be what's hot right now. And MLW doesn't seem to be hot at all. So this is going to be interesting to watch, more so than like the others I'm excited for from a fan's perspective. But this Matt Riddle thing I'm just kind of more intrigued by from like analytics and business side of how it's going to help MLW. Big star going to a promotion that's tanking. We'll have to see. I mean maybe it's not tanking, maybe I'm speaking out of turn here. But a promotion that isn't tanking is All Japan. They just partnered with NXT. They're going to have a Triple Crown match on January 3rd, and they're having an NXT assassin come in. I'm not sure if this assassin is Charlie Dempsey. William Regal did say his son, Charlie Dempsey, was coming into All Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't know if that's going to be, if they're going to have two wrestlers or if this assassin is Charlie Dempsey. I'm not too sure, but Charlie Dempsey, what a come up. NXT UK into NXT into All Japan, gets a little more seasoning than others before he hopefully comes over to the main roster. You gotta love it. Tanahashi, the new president of New Japan. That does sound big, Tanahashi president. That it's going to be big, but I don't know too much about what's going to happen. I am, just like the Matt Riddle thing, intrigued to see what goes down. I don't know the day-to-day operations of what the New Japan president does and how that will change much over what we've already seen with New Japan coming to, working with Noah, working with All Japan, working with AEW, working with CMLL. What's going to change there? They got their hands in everything, it seems like. But that's the news here. We're going to go into WWE NXT, the breakout tournament, Lexis King versus Dion Lennox. Lexis gets the victory. Dion didn't really impress me. Tavian Heights versus Luca Crucifino. Tavian Heights advances. Neither one really looked good to me either. So hopefully this is all designed to put over Lexis King, because as creepy as he is, I think he's a better wrestler than any of these guys that they're kind of showcasing here, which is supposed to be this breakout tournament. I don't really, Continental Classic it isn't. I'll just say that. Biggest story leaving NXT, though, was the storyline injury with the world champion in a match with Ridge Holland. They did their best to make sure this looked legit. If I was there, I would believe it, but the camera angles and the fact that the guy who injured him stayed in the ring kind of tells me that this is all a work. But I'm going to, I don't know. What are you going to do with the champion? Take him away for a little while. Let him go home for Christmas. Mrs. set a taping, set up an injury angle with a guy that you can bring back and beat really easily. And plus, I hate to say it, but it seems to be believable with Ridge Holland. He did injure, himself in NXT twice and Big E. So it sucks to say it, but that might be the most believable guy and usable guy you can use in this. I do like the women's division here. I like the locker room, the idea of the women's locker room, and how that's how most of the stories take place. Lots of returns, interesting stuff at the top of NXT. Dragon Lee versus Coffey versus Dempsey, with creepy Joe Gacy popping up under the ring and grabbing Joe Coffey. Dragon Lee retains his title. People started fucking with him a little bit, Dragon Lee, and then the LWO, fellow Hispanics back up there, dude. So I think we're gonna have like Dragon Lee and the LWO versus Escobar and his new accomplices that we're gonna talk about a little later. But Tiffany Stratton and Fallon Henley, awkward spine buster, didn't get the job done, but a sneak reverse roll up by Fallon did. 1, 2, 3. Stratton pissed and attacks her after the bell and even dumps trash on her bitch ass. Damn, that's gotta suck. So yeah, Tiffany Stratton, she's back, but she loses, but she gets the win. I like Stratton. I would have just brought her up to the main roster already, but they're keep shining her up in NXT. Thorpe recorded a little promo I thought was kind of mid. I'll maybe talk about this next week, but our next episode. But he has a match, a no rope match, NXT Underground with Dijak that they recorded last night that I did not get a chance to watch. Thea Hale and JC Jane versus Kiana James and Izzy Dame. So many names. Jace thinks she won, but she ends up eating a boot from Izzy. This was on par with the tag matches that I watch on Raw Women's Division, so that's saying a lot for these ladies. But in the back, Roxanne's still upset about Deadline and slaps the shit out of Ariana Grace. I'm still getting used to these names, guys. I'm still getting used to these NXT ladies' names. The dudes' names, I kind of got a little bit more of. I just started watching NXT back. That's, I would say, one of the success stories of 2023 is the turnaround that NXT has done. It was pretty much like I didn't know anyone who watched it, and now it kind of bubbled up to where I watch it, and I noticed, maybe just because I'm watching it, that a lot of other guys are watching it as well. And it's fun. It's a fun little show here. I at least catch up on everything on YouTube. Cora Jade in the locker room reclaims her locker, and that pisses off the girl whose locker it was, of course. This is why I like this locker room scene in the women's division of NXT. It can set up a lot of drama, can set up a lot of matches just by little things like this. Potentially a good storyline here for sure. Gallus versus Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. Two PC students in the standouts in this matchup here. They look good. They look better than the breakout tournament guys. Gallus does get the win though. Chase U gambling to get back out of debt. Of course, that's not going to work. Nikita Lyons got back. I mean, she is back going up against Tatum Paxley. Lyons gets the win. Always good to see her back. I'm down with that. And I'm also down with Smackdown. No real good explanation as why AJ did what he did last week, but you know what? We're getting a triple threat match with AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Randy Orton, so I don't think anyone really needs a good explanation. That's the funny thing about wrestling fans. We like good storytelling, but if bad storytelling will lead to a good match, it's a 50-50 shot. We might be okay with it, and I think we're okay with it here. AJ does get a match with Solo later on in the night, and LA Knight and Randy all want to wrestle Roman Reigns, which is kind of like, the winner of the triple threat match gets a shot at Roman. In the back, Roman and Heyman are upset by this booking decision with Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis doesn't back down. There seems to be tension here for sure. I think this is going to lead to a match with Aldis and Adam Pearce at WrestleMania, which would be hilarious, being that these two great NWA champions of the last 20 years will get a match at WrestleMania, but not to showcase their wrestling abilities. They'll be wrestling in suits and whatnot. But going back to the ring, AJ Styles and Solo Sikoa, Reigns attacks Styles because he might be a potential opponent in this triple threat. That starts a big brawl. Bloodline versus Randy, Knight, and AJ. The Bloodline retreat. Randy, Knight, and AJ go at it. They start to brawl too. This is going to be a good triple threat here. I mean, it takes me back to, look at AJ Styles when he was in that triple threat match with Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe. Randy Orton with Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio. Knight, he's going to have a great entrance. But this was a holiday show, so we had some holiday havoc. Gotta love a holiday-themed match on WWE. Damage Control versus Shotzi, Michin, Selena Vega, and Bianca Belair. Those goth girls from NXT pop out of Presence, Fire, and Dawn. Michin wins with the senton as my trash gets taken out here on a Wednesday morning. If you guys can pick up on that, Tiffany Stratton will be proud after her trash thing in NXT or something like that. Dragon Lee had a good match on NXT, and he had a good match on SmackDown versus Butch. North American title on the line. Solid match with Dragon Lee going over. Hard to say that Dragon Lee made a bad call going to WWE. I mean, look at Drew Listico. Look at Rush, even though he's in the Continental Classic. Dragon Lee is protected here, and guys that he used to run with in Mexico went to AEW, and they're lost in the shuffle at best. Lashley whooping Escobar's ass. Street Profits looking on. Guys in masks attack the Street Profits, distract Lashley. That is how Escobar is able to advance, and it is Roberto Carrillo and Angel Garza, the brothers. The 205 Live standouts became Raw Tag Team Champions, became lost in the shuffle in NXT, are brought back to form maybe a new version of Legado El Fantasma or something like that. This is cool. This is great. I think that there's going to be some great six-man tags from these two factions that are forming on WWE TV in front of our eyes. We also had Kevin Owens versus Carmelo Hayes, U.S. title tournament. Kevin Owens advancing, but I do think that this isn't the only time we're going to see Carmelo Hayes. I mean, there is a rumored list of Royal Rumble participants that I saw. I wish I didn't see. I don't want to go into that list too much, but I did see Carmelo Hayes' name on there. So look for him in the Rumble. That's a little bit of a spoiler alert. I'm sorry, but there's going to be 30 guys in there, and we'll see what happens. Karrion Kross had an interesting vignette here. Flashes of Authors of Pain showcased. There's rumors that they will be coming back to WWE in a faction with Karrion Kross, so this would all make sense here. It looks like those rumors are true. Jumping over to AEW, Shibata officially signed with AEW. We saw him a lot more in AEW and Ring of Honor than we did in New Japan, but he was technically signed to New Japan this whole time. Now he is officially signed with AEW. Jumping in to Dynamite from, I think it was from the 19th or something like this, the 20th maybe. Love the Collision video package. They did a little recap of all that went down in the Continental Classic, but on Collision, but Swerve versus Rush in the Continental Classic on Dynamite. Swerve music hits to kick off the show. This dude feels bigger and bigger every single week. I do daily polls on Twitter, and anytime this guy's name is mentioned, they pick him. I do think there's a little bit of recency bias to say that he's the breakout star of 2023, that he's going to be the star in 2024, but everyone's picking him, which lets me know that he is over. And I like the guy. I think he wrestles like a fun, action-packed, but safe style, which is interesting to watch. And let's just go into the match. Crowd goes for Rush as he hits a dive, almost as a rebuttal to how much the crowd is cheering for Swerve here. He kind of looks at the crowd. Rush lays it in as always. Rush gets control on the outside, belly to belly from the apron to the floor. Goes up top, misses 450 from Swerve. Rush kicks out at less than one. Rolling Thunder style maneuver. Crowd on their feet as Swerve hits the Swerve Stomp. 1, 2, 3. Swerve gets the victory here. Then we have Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal. Brings me back to the match they did to honor Jay earlier this year. Lethal with a dive and then a strut. Little redneck kung fu from Mark Briscoe, and then he gets a chair to hit a senton to the floor. Jay Driller on Mark. 1, 2, no, that's heat with me. Jay Driller on Mark. So Jay Lethal hit the Jay Driller like the son of a bitch he is, hitting a move on Mark that used to be Jay's move. Come on, man. Burning Hammer, Jay Driller from Mark. 1, 2, 3. Mark gets the victory. Mark gets 3 points in the tournament. And then we had Jay White versus Moxley. Go to the outside early. JR on commentary, back in the ring. Mox stays in control. Mox dives on Jay back to the outside. Both are men feeling the effects of this contest. They're slow moving. Jay throws a chair to distract the ref. That allows him to get another chair to get the advantage, hitting the already injured leg of Mox. Last act of a desperate Mox here. Death Rider 1, 2. White kicks out. Mox gets the dragon, gets hit with the dragon screw on that injured leg. Sleeper suplex, Uranagi 1, 2. Mox kicks out, goes for the Death Rider. He counters the Blade Runner. 1, 2, 3. Jay beats. Mox gets the Death Rider countered by the Blade Runner here. I'm getting all choked up. I'm getting so excited. And Jay White beats Mox, gets 12 points, putting him in a triple threat match in the finals. Swerve versus Mox versus Jay in the Gold League. My overall thoughts that have nothing to do with the Continental Classic. My favorite part of AEW. I don't know what I'm going to do. AEW, there's going to be a big glaring hole with AEW television after this Continental Classic, I feel. Jericho shares the news about Omega that we shared last episode to the AEW fans officially. Hits us with a goodbye and good night. Bang. That hit home right there. We're not going to see Omega for a while. MJF gets rewarded, inducted into the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame with an award of his activism against anti-Semitism. Wardlow is not being that good of a guy here. He wants to wrestle him back to the body of the program, and I feel like he needs to be the devil. He needs to be brought into this devil storyline because it's been 2 years since we've really had any kind of advancement with this Wardlow storyline. But who is the gosh darn devil? I don't know. He led an attack on Hangman Page last week. Joe comes out. MJF comes out. Joe accusing MJF of possibly being the devil. There are some tension here. And then the Age of the Fall guys that the devil controls come out. MJF and Joe take them out. They're kind of like putties to these MJF and Samoa Joe Power Rangers, taking out, these devil worshippers or whatever. The lights go out. The devil shows up on the screen. Next week, they will accept the challenge for the AEW or the ROH Championship. There's some mind games going on here. Joe grabs the mic and accepts Joe and MJF defending the ROH Tag Team Championships against these devil dickheads. I'm not sure what's going on. We'll have to tune in and see. But then there was a mask laid outside of Mogul Embassy's locker room. Swerve sees it. Is it Swerve? I don't know. He says no. Kingdom puts out flyers saying MJF is the devil. Roddy pleads with Joe to looking into this idea that MJF is the devil. This has got to go somewhere. There's like 20 guys wrapped up in this storyline. I don't know what's happening. I watch week to week. I don't want to go into February of 2024 not knowing who the devil is. I think Swerve would be a good pick. I think Wardlow would be a good pick. I think Adam Cole would be a good pick. I hear people mentioning Jungle Boy. I think whoever it is has to be really, really good on the mic, and I don't think Jungle Boy is good on the mic, so I would not pick him. But yeah, I'm getting kind of frustrated. This long-form storytelling is turning into a story that's just dragging ass, kind of like the Wardlow storyline, kind of like the Samoa Joe with the ROH TV title storyline. Where is it going? It could go nowhere. We've seen that before. Renee with Best Friends, Rocky Romero versus Orange Cassidy, kind of came out of nowhere, but that should have been a good match. I don't know if I missed it with my holiday festivities. And then Tony Schiavone gets heat reading a letter from Christian Cage, saying that he'll be back from vacation on Collision, and we'll talk about that right now because we're going to go into Collision. Had to skip Rampage, sorry guys, but could not skip the Continental Classic, could not skip Danielson versus Claudio, Blackpool versus Blackpool. They go up top with 5 minutes remaining. Claudio hits a huge superplex from the top 1-2. Danielson kicks out. Danielson counters with a Ricola bomb, or counters a Ricola bomb, but doesn't counter the neuralizer. 1-2. Danielson kicks out. Psycho knee that only holds Claudio back for a moment. Sharpshooter in the middle of the ring. Danielson hurting. 30 seconds remain. Goes for a cover. Time limit draw. 1 point each, man. That makes Danielson advance to the tournament finals. And even though he did not lose, he did not advance. Claudio is out. Going into Brody King versus Daniel Garcia. Brody landing some clobbering blows. Garcia isn't giving up. Crowd on their feet. Garcia lifts the big man. 1-2. No, but then rolls him up. 1-2-3. Garcia gets the win here in his last tournament match. Great match here. Showed a lot of fire. Garcia definitely didn't maybe get as over. He was pretty over before the tournament, but definitely got more respect from this AEW audience that maybe not have seen his indie run. House of Black start to attack Garcia. Daddy Magic lays on Garcia, says, you've done enough. And then FTR comes out to keep them at bay and accepts their challenge to a match at World's End. But that wasn't the only Continental Classic match we got. Kingston versus Andrade. Andrade with the Three Amigos dives on Eddie Kingston. Moonsault. 1-2. No. Eddie kicks out. Crowd split. Andrade can't put him away. Goes for the figure four. Tries to make it a figure eight, but Eddie gets the ropes. Spinning backfist. Connects. Spinning backfist again. Big superflex. High angle suplex. 1-2-3. Eddie Kingston wins. So it's Kingston versus Danielson in the blue league. The triple threat in the gold league. And holy shit, Danielson already beat Kingston in the tournament, but can he beat him again? It's like having a division rival in the NFL that we saw the Chiefs on Christmas Day. Just because you beat them before doesn't mean you're going to beat them again. What's going to happen here? I'm tuning in. That's all I know. The Acclaimed are back from hiding, going up against Top Flight and Action Andretti. They get the victory. Christian Cage out there with Nick Wayne, brings out Nick Wayne's mom. What a great moment when she turned on Adam Copeland, but she's not that good of an actor here. So this whole segment kind of fell flat, even though I'm really excited about the Edge Christian Cage match that's coming up on World's End. And that shows you that it cannot be Jungle Boy as the devil here. You can have a great angle, but if you put it on Jungle Boy, who's not that good of a talker, the angle's going to fall flat. Not saying that, well, yeah, I will say that. Jungle Boy is as good of a talker as Nick Wayne's mom. They're both just not good. There's a plateau you can hit on the bottom, and they're at the bottom. Thunder Rosa came back, teaming with Abaddon, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue. Thunder Rosa gets the hot tag. Sky Blue is evil now. I like her evil. I'm into it. Julia Hart goes up top. Abaddon cuts her off, and Rosa gets the win for her team. Good to see Thunder Rosa back. Good to talk to you guys about pro wrestling. As always, fly high. I'm out.